Just to summarize what we learned yesterday, we started learning the Hasidic discourse, starting off the opening verse. The Dibur Matchil is Veisha Achas, one woman from the wife of the prophets, which she was a famous prophet Ovadia. She came to Elisha crying, asking for help. On the simple level of the story, she's asking for help because the lender is going after her, and they ultimately threatened to take her children away. Her husband borrowed money in order to feed the rabbis in the hiding. And now the lender is going after her. So we learned that if we break the psukim, the verses, you'll see that each part of this verse is referring to the neshama, referring to the journey of the soul, and the cry of the soul, that Isha would be the soul coming to God, and either because a person feels distant from God, or at night the neshama itself is so to speak, unhappy being so removed from God. So we learned that the word Isha, which usually means a woman, is referring to the neshama. Isha Iras Hashem. In the book of Mishlei, Shlomo HaMelech writes the whole section is called the Eshes Chayil, a woman of valor, that we read Friday night. But the deeper meaning of Isha is reference to the neshama. And it says Isha Achas. In the story, Isha Achas Menashe Amitay. So Isha Achas is the neshama, the way it is united with God. Menashe Amitay is the aspect of nevuah, of prophecy. What is prophecy? Prophecy is speech. Being able to verbalize and articulate something that you were told. They're receiving from Dvar Havaya, they're receiving from the utterance of God, and they're giving it over. So similarly, every neshama is a vessel that can contain godly understandings or godly energies or godly revelations. To be a vessel to contain it, to understand it. So that neshama is coming to Elisha. Tzakar Elisha. What does Elisha means? The deeper meaning of Elisha, Elisha, which means God, help me, right? Respond to me. It's like the word Veisha Hashem al Hevel. Hashem responded to Hevel, to the offering of Hevel. Kind brought an offering, and Hevel brought an offering. Hashem responded to his offering. How does it say that Hashem responded to his offering? It says Veisha. Veisha. That's the meaning. So over here we have the same wordings. Elisha. Hashem responded to Hevel, and over here she's asking for Elisha to respond to her on the simple level. On the deeper level, she's asking God. The neshama is coming to God, the word is united with God. Tzakar Elisha, she's crying out to Elisha. What does she say? says, Avdecho ishi meis. Your servant, my husband, died. Right? Pirush, what is ishi? So we learned ishi is eish yud. Fire, yud. The word ishi has fire within it, and then two yuds. Shebchinas eish yud, shoyetz libi slavus vislatut, avol Hashem kerish pesh likolu libot bchinas yud chochma elon, meis etzli. So I had godly fire within me, a fire to nullify myself. Fire in general represents nullification because it constantly wants to depart from its source. Similarly, over here, she comes and she says she lost that passion, she lost the excitement. Yud, referring to the supernal chokhmah, chokhmah elah, the godly chokhmah. Chokhmah represents nullification. So she comes to Elisha to tell him, I lost it. I don't have that fire anymore. I don't have that excitement. Now she tells him, you know, ki avdecha yores havai. You know that avdecha, your servant, she is referring to her husband on the simple level, referring to Ovadia. It was a God-fearing person. First, Yore has the same letters as the word Yoel. Yoel means to give light. He had the ability to add light in Havai, in godliness. Now that he passed away, this power doesn't exist anymore. And the lender is coming to take the two children to Avodim. What is the two children? So we learned the two children is referring to Ava and Yir, the love of God and the fear of God, and the Noishe and the lender is referring to the animalistic soul. Since I don't have that fire anymore, so the animalistic soul is taking over. How is it expressed that the animalistic soul takes over? That it takes your Ava and your Yira. The primary emotional faculties that we have is love of God and the fear of God. And the animalistic soul wants you to have love of this world and fear of this world. And that's what she is describing to Elisha on a deeper level. And not only that he wants to take over, he wants the love of God and the fear of God to be his servant, to be his slaves. La'avris zoros, to foreign loves, which is the desires of the body, and to foreign fear, pen yachzer lachmoi, and this fear of maybe he's going to lack on his bread. Maybe he's going to miss something, not to have enough, and so on. So this is the part that we got up to this point yesterday. Vayemer Elisha so ches, right? Vayemer Elisha ma yesh lach b'bayis. So Elisha responds to her up till now that she spoke to Elisha. She speaks to the prophet. The wife of Ovadia speaks to the prophet. Now the prophet is responding to her, and he says, what do you have in your house? So she responds, I only have asuch shemen. I have a small pitcher with oil. That's all I have. Pirush. What is the deeper meaning of it? Pirush. She wants to say that the godly soul was distant so much from godliness. The soul was distant from godliness so much, she'ein lo ki im etzem nekudas haneshama. Nothing is left. There's no ava, there's no love, there's no fear, there's no understanding of godliness. The only thing that is left is Asuch Shemen, is Nekudas HaNeshama, is the what they say, the Pintali, the little dot, the dot that connects every Jew with God, that cannot be blemished, and that stays. In other words, I'm a Jew, and that's it. There's nothing else besides that. Vayomer, so he responds, Elisha responds to her. Kelim Reikim, and it doesn't give us the whole pasuk over here, but it says, Kelim Reikim al tamiti. The story goes that he tells her to take empty vessels and to collect from the neighbors vessels. Kelim Reikim al tamiti, you should have a lot of empty vessels in the house. In other words, borrow containers and containers, empty containers, from all the neighbors. And then he tells her to take that oil, the pitcher of oil that she had left in the house, to start pouring. He told her, close the door, you and your 2 children, close the door and start pouring the oil. And the oil poured and poured and poured miraculously, filled up the whole house with oil. And the whole oil was very expensive at the time. And she was able to solve all of her financial problems. And she was she even got wealthy from this. That's the story, the simple meaning of the story. So Perush is a response to the crying of the neshama, that the neshama is crying, the soul is crying, that it's distant from godliness. It doesn't have any more love or fear to godliness. The Navi, the prophets respond, Elisha responds, that she has to serve God in a way of kelim reikim, of an empty vessel. Meaning that she has to change the way she was serving God up till now, and she has to serve God in a way of kelim reikim. What does it mean, empty vessel? It says, K'mayim harav mesiv sa began Eden. It says in Zohar, Rav responded. Rav was the Rosh Yeshiva, the head of the academy in Gan Eden, and he says, "Ehod lo yisalik bein oram evachne." It's also mentioned in Tanya in Perek Chavtes, chapter 29. It says a log that doesn't catch fire, you have to chop it down to smaller pieces, and the fire will be able to catch. If you want to make a bonfire, you're not going to throw a log into the fire. You chop it into small pieces, and then you throw it into the fire. Similarly, a body that is unable to absorb the light of the neshama, you have to break it a little bit. And then the light of the neshama will penetrate.
How do you break?
We'll see. What is kelim reikim? Empty vessel. שצורך לסבינן הרבה, איכשהו כלי ריקון, בלי שום דעת במוח ובלי שום דחיל ורחם. The first thing that a person has to do in order to be an empty vessel is to lisboinen harbe, to contemplate a lot, not a little, a lot. That what? Shehu kli reikon, that is an empty vessel. What does it mean, empty vessel? Bli shum das, that it doesn't have understanding in godliness. B'meach, in its intellect. Uvli shum dechilu rechimu, without ava and you, it doesn't have love and fear to godliness. It is missing on these two things. Ava and you, and is missing on intellectual understanding. No, Ava is love and Yira is fear. So he's missing on this part and the emotional faculties, and he's missing on intellectual aspect. Oh, And then, this is the first part. And it says, "V'ismarmer me'oid al richukoi v'itzak elavai." It should be painful for him. It should have bitterness that he's distant from Hashem. V'itzak elavai, and he should cry and beg al richukoi me'elikim chaim me'mekor chaim, that he's distant from Elikim Chaim, from the living God, the source of life. Chakach, after he nullifies his yeshus, he nullifies his self, so to speak, his arrogancy and haughtiness. Then he's able to come to the level that it's called the Yisrei Na'oil min ha'choshech, that the advantage of light comes through darkness. Because that he was in the dark, now that he cried for it, he was able to get out of it. There is an added light, there is an increased light. But the truth is that there is advantage to light that comes specifically through darkness. So it's seemingly a simple answer, meaning you have to be empty vessel. What does it mean empty vessel? Is to contemplate that you don't have true understanding in godliness. And number two, that you don't have, and on the emotional aspect, you're missing out on Avos Hashem, love of God and fear of God. And there's some people that say, okay, I don't have it. Fine, I don't have it. Other people have it. I don't have it, big deal. But there's some people that are bitter about it. It said if you miss Maamar, if you're bitter about it, it would lead you to get out of the situation. If you're okay with it, then why should you get out of it? If your mother lets you stay in her basement, right? Mother lets you stay in the basement, and she makes it comfortable for you. She comes down, she gives you breakfast.
You stay there?
She gives you lunch. She feeds you, she speaks to you, she makes you feel comfortable, and you're going to stay there, maybe till 30, 35, 40. But if it's not comfortable, then you start thinking, oh, maybe I should find a different place. You find a different place, then you have to pay the rent, and you work. Ultimately, because of the situation that she made you uncomfortable, because of the bitterness, because of the darkness, you're coming into the light. You get out of the situation. So similarly, if a person is comfortable with it, that he doesn't possess it, he has a problem. He's not going to get out of it. So understanding that you don't have it is only one part. Is the part that makes you feel, okay, I'm deficient. I'm an empty vessel. But after that part, you have to care that you don't have it. And this is the hard part. But why do we go through this exercise? Right? Because it ultimately leads to Yisro Na'ir min ha'choshech, that the advantage of light comes specifically through darkness. Because of his richuk, because of his distance, he's being so far, he's now trying to get even closer than people that are close already. He wants to be closer than them.
I think just to understand that you're lacking in something, it's very difficult. I'm missing something. Because you're full of ego and it's hard to...
It's not just missing something, he says missing
the point.
On the connection with the God of Elikim Chaim, living God, the source of life. It's like someone is detached from its core. Truth is that no Jew is detached from his core, but there's different levels of connection. So similarly, the wife of Elisha comes to tell a story that she needs financial help, but at a deeper level of the story, as we read in the beginning, that someone would say that Moshe Rabbeinu or anything in the oral Torah was just written to tell us stories, is denying the whole Torah. Obviously, there is a reason why it's the Haftarah of this week, and there's a reason why the story was told with all the details of the story. And now we see the story behind the story. Then the prophet ends off, after he gives her the recipe for success with the oil, he tells her, "Ve'at uvanayich tichi banoisu." You is referring to the essence of her neshama. Uvanayich hem dechilu rechimu shebechol neshama tichi banoisa beisron oyer min hachoshech. You is referring to the essence of the soul. Your children, and the chilu rechimu, it's the avo and yira, the love and fear shebechol neshama that every neshama has. Tichi banoiso veisron oyer min hachoshech. You'll be able to live because now you have the advantage of light that came through the darkness. So the simple meaning, you're going to be able to pay your debt through this miracle, and you'll be able to live with the leftover, with what is with the remainder of the oil, be able to sell it and live with it. He says now we'll be able to live with the extra, meaning that after you're able to satisfy, you're able to correct this concept of understanding godliness, having a soga, having some grasp in godliness, and being able to develop avo and yira, love and fear to God. Now you can come to the next level of tichi banoiso, that you have the added light that came from darkness, and you'll be able to sustain yourself with it. So up to this point, the Rebbe quoted the Alter Rebbe, the first Lubavitcher Rebbe. He quoted him up to this point. And he ended off with a blessing that Hashem would, that Hashem should merit us to go through, to be able to have the concept of Yitrona O, the advantage of light that comes from darkness. And now this is Gimel is a part where the Rebbe continues with the discourse. You can see the beginning has to be a connection, the beginning of the Haftarah, Veisha Achas v'gomer im atchalat Parashat Shavua. You have to see a connection between the beginning of the Haftarah and the beginning of the Parasha. This weekly portion starts by Vayera elav Hashem, right? What is the connection between Veisha Achas Menashe Amitay, which is the pasuk, the first verse in the Haftarah, and the first verse of the Torah, Vayera elav Hashem? Okay. Uvaktim shepashtut ha'inyanim, according to the plain level, השייכות של ההפטרה זו פרשת השבוע, the connection of the Haftarah to the portion of the week, to Vayera, בגלל שבהפטרה מסופר אודות בן השונמית. The Haftarah speaks about בן השונמית. Who is בן השונמית? The daughter of Shunamit, שאלישע הבטיח לה, את חובקת בן. וגם לאחרי כן פעל שיהיה קיום להבן. וזהו בדוגמת הסיפור בפרשה אודות יצחק. So in the Haftarah, at the end of the Haftarah, is another story that the Isha, this woman called Shunamit, comes to Elisha, and she asks for children. To be more accurate, Elisha would travel from time to time, and they made a place for him that he can always stay in their house, and he stayed in their house, and she understood by the way he conducted himself that he was a righteous person. She asked him for a bracha to have children. He blessed her to have a child. The child died, and Elisha revived him. Elisha was able to resurrect him. He was able to revive the child miraculously. The story goes that Gehazi was his servant. When he was told that the child died, he told Gehazi to take a stick and to touch the child, and the child would live. Gehazi was skeptic. It wasn't. He said, "What do you mean? A stick would make somebody live?" So he saw a dead dog on the way, on the way to the house of the Shulam. He saw a dead dog. So he put the stick, touched the dog, and the dog came to life. So then he goes to the house and he touched the child, but it doesn't work anymore. So he goes back to Elisha and he doesn't tell him about the dog. He just says it doesn't work. So Elisha understood what he did, and he himself went and he closed the door. There's a whole description how it happened. So the Rebbe wants to say that the Rebbe is telling us that according to the simple level, the connection between the Haftarah and the parasha is that Hashem is blessed Sarah to have a child, and Sarah is having a child. Over here, the prophet Elisha blessed the Isha Shulamit, this woman, that she should have a child, and she had a child. Okay. So, וגם לאחרי כן פעל שיהיה קיום לבן, and he made sure this child would live. וזהו בדוגמת הסיפור בפרשה אודות יצחק. And similarly, that's the story in the Parsha regarding Yitzchak. שהמלאך בישר והנה בן לשרה אשתך. The angel comes and he tells Sarah that your wife will have a child. She'll have a son. וגם בנוגע לקיומו של הבן, כי היית במדרש של הפסוק, and also the Parsha speaks about the life of Yitzchak. It says, ויעש אברהם משתה גדול, when Yitzchak became 2 years old, he made a big feast. Avraham made a big feast, his father. Og וכל גדולים היו שמה, Og the giant, and other famous and great people were there. והיה Og לועג על יצחק, and Log would laugh at Yitzchak, at the event. And he would say to him, ואומר שיכול לבטלו באצבעו. He says with one finger, he can, Og was a giant. He says, I don't understand, Avraham is making such a big deal about this child. With one finger, I can kill him. אמר לו הקדוש ברוך הוא, מה אתה מבזה? Why are you laughing at him or mocking him? ואדרבה. אין סופו של אותו האיש ליפול אלא בידו. Says, you, Og, will die through the descendant of Yitzchak. And who was it? It was Moshe Rabbeinu who killed Og. In the fight with Og, Moshe Rabbeinu killed him.
A different Og or the same Og?
Same Og.
He lived that long?
Yes. או שלא היה הדבר קיים מצד האמירה ועלהו שם לעולה ואחר כך נעשה קיום אל תעש לו מאומה. You know, also Yitzchak had to went through the Akedah, being an offering. Yitzchak was an offering, and ultimately Hashem said to him, don't do anything to him. The Parsha is also telling us the story. אבל על פי זה, so we're still trying to see the connection between the Haftarah and the portion of the week. אבל על פי זה, הרי זה הסיפור אודות בין השולמית שייך לפרשה. So the connection between the Haftarah and the parasha, also the Shulamit had a child. He died and he was resurrected. Yitzchak is a midrash that says that Yitzchak passed away on the Akedah and was resurrected also, came back to life. ואם כן, הייתה ההפטרה צריכה להתחיל בסיפור זה. The question is, if you look at the Haftarah, the first story tells us about the wife of Avadia. The whole story that we spoke about, that the lender is coming to take her kids. The second story is the Isha Shunamis, the wife of this woman they called Shunamit, that she received a bracha, a blessing from the prophet, to have a child, and ultimately the child died, and then the child came back to life. So why since the portion of the week starts with the narrative about Yitzchak, the Haftarah also should start with the narrative about the Isha Shunamis, that she had a child. Specifically, this story has 21 psukim, 21 verses. Without the verse of Veisha Achas, one woman from the wife of the prophets, according to what we learned in the previous discourse, it says there is a way to connect, there's a way to explain the beginning of the Haftarah. She says Veisha Achas, one woman, with the beginning of this portion. ד' והעניין בזה, דהינה מה שכתוב בתחילת הפרשה וירא אליו הוויה, Hashem was revealed to Avram, אף שזה בו בהמשך לסוף פרשת לך לך, שכיוון שנימו לאברהם, it says at the end of Parshas Lech Lecha that Avraham Avinu was circumcised. Lochen vayero elo. Therefore Hashem was revealed to him. He was circumcised, and then vayero elo vavai. And why did Hashem reveal to him? Levaker es hachoyle. Hashem came to visit the sick. He was recuperating from the bris, from the circumcision. Arezo. It's a new parsha, it's a new portion, and it tells us it's a new inyan, there's a new chapter. We're starting a new chapter, even though there's a connection between the portion of Lech Lecha to the portion of Vayera, but it's still a new chapter, it's a new beginning. Yeah, Hashem came to visit Avraham Avinu. That's what Rashi says when it says Vayera Ela Avaya. Rashi says that Hashem came to visit him. And it was on the third day of his circumcision that it's known to be the hardest day, the most difficult day. At the end of Parshas Lech Lecha, it says that Avraham Avinu was circumcised, and Ishmael, his son, and all the people of his household. Everyone in his house. But when it comes to Parshas Vayera, Nemar Vayera Elav Havaya, it says to him, to Avram, Hashem was revealed. Shuinya v'niflinu ani v'amcho, that there is discrimination. What is this? What is the discrimination? Ishmael was circumcised also, and v'chol anshe beisa, the people of his household, meaning all the people that were close to him, they were also circumcised. Why is Hashem only revealing Himself to Avram? So the Rebbe says the inyan of Niflinu. Niflinu was many generations later. Moshe Rabbeinu is asking of God that the Jewish people should be distinguished from all the other nations. That the closeness that we have with Hashem should be more than any other nation. So we see it already by Avram, that Hashem comes to speak to him, even though other people were circumcised also. It says the revelation of Vayera is a very supreme, say the word great revelation. Why? Because the inyan of the purpose of this visit, of this appearance, God appearing to Avram, was to visit the sick. What's so special about it? It says, the choyle begimatria memtet. The word choyle, the numerical value of chet, vav, lamed, hey, if you put all of them together, you get to 49. What about 49? What's the story with this number? Kevan shoyetzel Avram vakim teishar bino. Avram had 49 gates of wisdom. Memtet sharei bina. Shezeu mashnitan livroim sheuchel lamshir v'kerach atzmam. And this is what was given to human beings, to created beings, that they can achieve on their own. They can come with their own work. Obviously, a person is aided by God, but you can get there, so to speak, on your own. 49 gates of wisdom. V'chulam nitnu leMoshe. It says in the Gemara, in Rosh Hashanah, that 50 sha'arei bina, k'mamar b'seinu zal, 50 sha'arei bina nivru b'olam. The 50 gates of wisdom or understanding were given in the world. V'chulam nitnu leMoshe choser achad. Choser echad. They were all given to Moshe Rabbeinu, except one.
Which is?
The 50th gate. Ve'ilu shara chamishim, the 50th gate, eino b'shaychus lanivra, is not connected with a created being. It's higher than him. It's higher than his understanding. It says, afilu Moshe Rabbeinu, even Moshe Rabbeinu himself, lo zocha l'sha'anu, did not marry the 50th gate. Ella, who, this 50th gate of wisdom connected with whom? It says, Ella boire, it's connected with the Creator. This is what we can receive from above. In other words, we are unable to get to it on our own. We can't reach the 50th gate on our own. It says about Moshe Rabbeinu that on his last day, he was able to reach the 50th gate. אלא בוירא בחינתך שזהו מה שמקבלים מלמעלה וזהו ויהי רואה לו ולבקר השכיל. It says there was a revelation of godliness that Avram merited לבקר השכיל שהגיל מלמעלה ריפא השכיל. That the godly revelation that came from above healed the sick. The sickness of Avram, what was his sickness? So over here it says it wasn't speaking about his physical illness or his physical recovery from the circumcision. It speaks about the fact that he has only 49 gates. It's a choyle, it's 49 gates of wisdom. He needs the 50th gate, but he can't reach it on its own. And how was he healed? He was able to recover because of the 50th gate was revealed to him. That's why it's so special. We said it's a gilui na'ala. It's a revelation that is very lofty.
How he knew it?
Hashem gave it to him. Downloaded to his mind.
How he knew that he's missing one?
He feels it. He feels it. He's lacking something. We learned about it. A person that we need to contemplate that we don't have understanding in godliness. We need to contemplate. We need to contemplate that we don't have Ava and Yira. You have to think about it. Avram Avinu knew exactly what he has, what he didn't have. He was connected to Hashem all the time. But even if he didn't know, you're still a person that is sick and he doesn't know that he's sick. That means he's not sick. He's sick, he just doesn't know it.
Yeah.
So Hashem comes and heals him. It's like someone that a miracle was done to him without knowing that the miracle was done. Right? This concept, the 50th gate, Avram inherited to his children. He gave it over. Didn't keep it to himself. To every single Jew, שיהיה בירושה. לא רק מה שאברהם אבינו השיג על ידי הגיע בעבודתו, אלא גם הגילו דבעירו שנמשך מלמעלה, והיינו לפי שירש מקבל הכל. It tells us, Avraham Avinu didn't give his children only what he was able to accomplish on its own. Rather, he gave his children everything that was given to him from above that he could not reach on its own. Why? Because Yoresh Mekabel HaKol, someone that is getting a Yerusha, inheritance, he receives everything. Everything that the father gives. Everything that the father possessed. All of the above, it's connected to the neshama, meaning the neshama is receiving all the superior things that Avraham Avinu possessed. All the things that Avraham Avinu had, spiritually, your neshama is receiving it. Aval haguf, but the body is concealing. But regarding to that, it says in the Haftarah, Veisha Achas this woman from the wife of Ovadia, she cries out to Elisha. What is she asking for? He says, even though the neshama is in a concealed body, the neshama is vested in a body that is concealing. And the concealment is to such degree that the powers of the neshama are seemingly dead. They're not felt whatsoever. In a gamaz, despite the concealment, despite the obscurity, it's still Veisha Achas. The neshama is still one. The neshama is still united with God. That she's one with Hashem. So this is the point. It's because the neshama is one with Havaya, it bothers her, the concealment. We spoke about the part that a person has to be bothered by it. If you're not bothered by it, it doesn't change anything. So the fact that the neshama is united with God, the soul is one with Havaya, the neshama is bothered being in the dark. And the fact that it's painful for the neshama, it shows that really the neshama is connected. Chalosh in a Maamar, as the Maamar says, "Belayla tzorek is b'kol mar." The Maamar said, quoting the Alter Rebbe, that at night the neshama cries out with a bitter voice. And this is only a time of night, time of darkness. There is no light. Times that there is concealment. Nevertheless, the neshama is crying out because this richuk, this distance, is disturbing her. The neshama is not comfortable being distant. And this cry, this cry is able to impact the neshama, that what? You and your children will be able to live with the leftover. What is the leftover? What is the extras that you have? What is the remainder? The advantage of light that came through the darkness. It says in Zohar that when there is a skafir, when a person works with himself, is skafir, he wants something but he doesn't do it. Subjugate himself. What happens? What is the impact in the higher world when someone does this kafir? So he said, the honor of God ascending into all the worlds. because the advantage of light specifically comes to darkness. You see, all these things in the upper worlds are happening. The honor of God is ascending to all the worlds because of what? Because of the darkness, because of the challenge that you had, and you worked with yourself not to go for it. Because of that, now the honor of God is elevated in all the world, which is proving the point of Yitron Ha'or, the advantage of light that comes through darkness. Ken Yezakeinu Hashem, Ken Yir'i Ratzon, Amen. And this Hashem will merit us to be able to have Yitron Ha'or Haba Min HaChoshech, to be able to get to these levels of ultimately not only restoring our connection with God, having a understanding in godliness, having Ava and Yira, we should also have the noisa, the extra. We'll have so much that we have leftovers.
Amen.
Ken Yir'i Ratzon, Amen. Okay, so that's the Maamar.